The night was quiet, the city lights reflecting off the sleek metal of Jacob's car as we cruised down nearly empty streets. I could feel the hum of the engine beneath us, a gentle vibration that seemed to match the quickening of my heart. Jacob, sitting in the driver's seat, had his hands on the wheel, but his usual composure seemed tinged with something I hadn't noticed before, a quiet anticipation. I stole a glance at him. His dark hair fell slightly into his eyes, and the streetlight passing by illuminated the subtle contours of his face. He was beautiful, in a way that made my chest tighten every time I looked at him. I'd known him for months, laughed with him, teased him, leaned on him, but tonight felt different. Tonight felt like a turning point. "Hey," he said, his voice breaking my thoughts. "Thanks for coming out with me. I needed this." I nodded, trying to hide the nervous flutter in my stomach. "Yeah, me too," I replied, though my voice sounded smaller than I intended. As we drove through quiet streets, I couldn't help but notice the little things. The way his hand occasionally brushed against mine when he shifted, the way he caught my eye in the rearview mirror, a small smirk playing on his lips whenever our hands met accidentally. My heart was hammering, but I couldn't move. I didn't want to ruin it, whatever it was, by being too eager. The city was asleep, the streetlights casting golden halos through the windows. The car's interior was small, intimate, and somehow perfect. Every bump in the road made me conscious of how close we were, how contained this little bubble of time had become. "Can we just park somewhere?" he asked suddenly, voice soft, almost a whisper. I nodded, feeling a jolt of electricity at the casual intimacy in his tone. He steered us toward a quiet street lined with glowing lampposts and finally pulled the car to a stop. The world outside faded. The hum of the engine and our breaths were the only sounds. We sat in silence for a few moments, both pretending to be casual, but the tension was palpable. My hands rested nervously in my lap, and I noticed his, resting just slightly too close to mine. I wanted to reach for him, to close the space, but fear and anticipation kept me frozen. Jacob's eyes found mine. There was something unspoken in his gaze, a mix of longing and careful restraint. I swallowed hard. "Jacob," I started, my voice barely audible. He leaned slightly toward me, and I felt it before I saw it. The magnetic pull, the space between us shrinking with every heartbeat. His hand brushed against mine, tentative at first, then firmer, fingers intertwining. "Are you sure?" I whispered. He nodded, leaning slightly closer. I've never been more sure of anything. Our knees touched. My heart was in my throat. The hum of the car, the soft glow of the streetlight, the faint scent of his cologne, it all seemed to heighten every sensation. Jacob's hand cupped my cheek gently, thumb brushing across my skin. He leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to pull away, though I had no desire to do so. Our lips met softly at first, testing, hesitating, exploring. And then, as if the world had dissolved, the kiss deepened. Time seemed to stretch. The city, the street, the car itself, none of it mattered. Only the warmth of his lips, the softness of his hands, and the thrill of finally being exactly where I wanted to be. My arms wrapped around his neck, pulling him closer, and I felt his body respond, pressing gently against mine. It was tender, hungry, and infinite all at once. Every brush of lips, every sigh, every heartbeat felt monumental. I thought I might burst with the intensity of it, the sheer rightness of this stolen moment. When we finally broke apart, just barely, our foreheads rested together. Breaths mingled. I felt his heartbeat, strong, steady, reassuring, and it synced with my own. I closed my eyes, savoring the closeness, the quiet intimacy of just being near him. That felt like forever. I whispered, my voice trembling. Jacob smiled softly, brushing a loose strand of hair from my face. "Yeah," he murmured, "forever in a few seconds." We laughed quietly, shy and breathless, as the car seemed to shrink even further, wrapping us in our own little world. "You don't know how long I've wanted this," Jacob said, voice low, almost hesitant. "I've thought about it every day, every time we hung out. I didn't know if you felt the same, and I didn't want to ruin what we already had." I shook my head, smiling through a flush of heat. I felt it too for months. I just didn't think you would ever feel the same. He chuckled softly. Guess we both were idiots then. I reached up and cupped his cheek, thumb brushing across his soft skin. Not idiots, just cautious, waiting for the right moment. Jacob leaned into my hand, eyes closing briefly, savoring the touch. I guess we found it, he said. The car remained parked, the night quiet around us. Neither of us moved immediately, letting the kiss linger in memory and sensation. Fingers still entwined, we talked softly, laughter and quiet confessions filling the car. I realized I could get lost in him forever, in his smile, his voice, his warmth. Every small gesture, brushing a strand of hair from his face, the tilt of his head, the way his eyes sparkled in the streetlight, felt monumental. I rested my head against his shoulder, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. I don't ever want this night to end, I admitted. Jacob hugged me close, resting his chin atop my head. Then we won't let it. Not really. We stayed in the car for hours, talking about everything and nothing, wrapped up in a closeness that was more than friendship. Each word, each touch, solidified what had always been there but unspoken. The kiss had changed everything, not just between us, but within us. By the time we finally stepped out, the night had deepened, and the city around us seemed softer, almost forgiving. We walked side by side, hands still entwined, hearts still racing, sharing quiet smiles. It was the beginning of something new, something fragile and thrilling. And I knew, without a doubt, that the memory of that first kiss would linger forever, a perfect, infinite moment suspended in time. As we reached my door, Jacob leaned in one last time, pressing a gentle kiss to my forehead. "Good night," he whispered, eyes shining with something tender and electric. I smiled, feeling a warmth that would last long after the night ended. "Good night," I replied, fingers brushing his. We parted then, but the world inside my chest felt full, alive, and entirely his. That kiss, in Jacob's car under the quiet city lights, had felt like forever.